Hey everyone, I'm Jan Kasumovic, Head of Growth for Influencer Marketing Hub, the world's #1 influencer marketing resource. And today we're diving into the topic that has been making waves, namely TikTok Shop. We have all heard the hype about the creator side of things when it comes to TikTok Shop. People basically making 100, 200, even up to 500K a month US dollars on TikTok Shop affiliate fees. However, one thing that stood very clear to me when I searched TikTok Shop from a brand perspective, how a brand can make it in this space, I could literally not find anything. So I'm super excited to have Thomas on board here from Moment IQ. There's literally nobody that is gonna guide us better through this than Thomas. Moment IQ is laser focused on TikTok Shop services as an influencer marketing agency, and Thomas has been on the forefront of this exciting space. So, without further ado, Thomas, it's great to have you on the podcast today. How is life?
It's great. It's great. I'm really excited about life because this is my first ever podcast. Excited to be talking to you today, especially about my favorite thing, which is TikTok Shop. So,
I was actually about to just mention that it's both my first time and Thomas' first time. So, this is gonna be exciting, but I'm quite sure that we're gonna uncover and break down quite a lot of interesting things, hand-on things for brands to basically get to know this area and see how they can use it. So, Thomas, before I go on, please introduce yourself and Moment IQ as an agency.
definitely. Hello, everyone. I'm Thomas. I'm the director of paid media at Moment IQ. I focus a lot on the brand side of things, so everything from TikTok Shop partners perspective, helping out a lot of brands onboard to their TikTok shop, set up their ad strategy, and working hand in hand with a lot of our campaign team as well, who manage a lot of the affiliate relationship. In terms of Moment RQ, we run full funnel marketing services for TikTok Shop specifically, and we've served 10% of the top TikTok shops in the whole US. So I'm really, really excited to talk about that today.
Actually, I'm gonna start this interview in a different way that I planned because I just a few hours ago heard this very interesting podcast where the
hmm
CEO of a big group from Dubai basically mentioned people hate marketing. And as a marketer, I've never really thought about it like that, but it kind of makes sense. We are in an era where people are basically paying to not see marketing. I can start with Spotify, with Apple Music, with the increased use of blockers, YouTube Premium, etc. People are literally paying to not see marketing, right? Now, TikTok has basically been rewarded by Gen Z for having this super authentic layer. Now, with the introduction of TikTok Shop, which is adding this super commercialized layer to the platform, how do you see that TikTok Shop actually is going to succeed and keeps its audience and actually keep growing in terms of both the session duration and its user base?
Definitely. I think TikTok's in a very unique position because they focus a lot on native elements to their own platform. TikTok Shop is getting super native, especially from a creator's perspective. You don't have to be a mega influencer anymore with millions of followers to take part in the action. All you need is 1,000 followers. So if you get on TikTok and start posting regularly, start learning the tips and tricks and all the little intricate features TikTok has, you're going to grow your audience and then you can start taking part in marketing. And then I think once you become a creator yourself and you begin taking part in the marketing, you have a bit more of appreciation for it and you're more willing to look at ads in a different way and try to analyze them and make your own account better. So I really think becoming a TikTok shop affiliate is going to open your eyes and start to really, put you in that area where you're not as bothered by it anymore and it's more native.
But I'm just thinking, like, what do you think is driving this phenomenon? How are people
hmm
making so much money?
I think a lot of the affiliates on TikTok are actually only accepting collaboration requests from brands that they truly love and brands that they use every day in their life. So if it's not authentic to you, I recommend not even posting about it because it's gonna stick out like a sore thumb on the For You feed. Gen Z is really, really good at, navigating that and understanding what's real, what's not real. So if you actually authentically use the product every day in your life, or you actually have a passion for the product, then I do believe in those cases where you become an affiliate and you start making a lot of side income from, your commission, just because the brand might use it as an ad later on, or the post might actually go viral itself, and then you're just getting sales. So there definitely are those cases where affiliates are making loads and loads of cash aside, but there's
Mm.
also cases where it's more, tamed down, and maybe it's like $5 a day or something like that. But
Interesting you mentioned Gen Z. Actually, I wanted to also speak about that. My assumption has always been that in terms of mimetic desire, that the Gen Z is the primary segment for that. So is that also your perception and what you experience on the brand side, that they're actually using TikTok as a channel primarily to target the ICP that is Gen Zs, or is it broader than that?
I think it's broader than that. We're starting to see tons and tons of creators that were famous on YouTube back when YouTube started get into TikTok Shop and start doing a lot of live streaming. And what we're seeing from the data on the sales of those live streams is that they're actually capturing a lot of millennial attention as well, and people that are a little bit older too. So it's not just Gen Z driving the buying power behind TikTok Shop anymore.
Interesting. And as a marketer, and now you mentioned also YouTube, what problem does TikTok solve with TikTok Shop compared to other platforms such as YouTube from a brand perspective?
From a brand perspective, I think definitely there's a lot better awareness on TikTok Shop now because the algorithm definitely favors a lot more of the TikTok Shop posts as opposed to a normal post without a product link on there. So if you have a really good affiliate strategy and you're going after quantity of affiliates, you're going to see a lot of awareness come through as well as sales at the same time. So it's kind of a blending of both worlds now. Whereas before in marketing, it was either awareness or either conversion. I see them both as one.
That's really interesting because actually I just interviewed another agency, big agency in the influencer marketing field, and one of their campaigns went completely viral. And it was interesting that they actually mentioned when they do cross campaigns that
Mhm.
they primarily used TikTok for awareness, but
Interesting.
YouTube for conversions. Do
Very
you think
interesting.
that dynamic is about to change a lot?
I think so, especially with social commerce, because back in the day before social commerce, it's actually not that long ago. But when we're using pixels to track website activity, a strategy like that makes a bit more sense. But now all the
Mhm.
conversions happen on the platform, especially on TikTok. So when you think about it in that sense, you got to have an awareness funnel for your social commerce and you got to have a conversion funnel for your social commerce. And when it's all in one app, that's kind of one and the same, right? So that's why TikTok Shop is really leaning into affiliates to get that awareness, and then other strategies like product shopping ads to get the purchases or
Do you know what the the comparative metrics is in terms of like conversion rate when you have in-app shopping versus you have to actually funnel to your own website? Do you know is there any benchmarks in the industry now after TikTok Shop was implemented? Any numbers on that?
honestly, I don't know too much numbers on that, but from a logical perspective, it's a lot better just because there's a lot less steps to get to that purchase on TikTok Shop. For example, when you're going to the website, you got to click to the website. You have to wait for it to load in the in-app browser. Then you have to search for the product you're looking for, the category you're looking for. Then you have to
Mm.
add it to your cart, add all your payment information, initiate the checkout, complete the payment. On TikTok,
Mm.
when you're coming across it in your feed, you just click on the little shop button and then the option to buy now is immediately right there. As soon as you click that, the order's getting shipped and it's on its way to you. So the conversion rates, at least from the ads perspective that we're seeing across our clientele, are much, much higher than.
That makes a lot of sense. It made me think about that. I feel I heard in other podcasts that TikTok has implemented this very strict onboarding and seller restrictions, which kind
Hmm.
of makes sense when you move the sales funnel into the app, right? Then all of a
Hmm.
sudden it's actually TikTok that needs to build the trust.
Exactly.
And I did a content strategy around TikTok Shop for Influencer Marketing Hub a few months ago when I realized I could not ignore it anymore. The fourth most searched query about TikTok Shop was, is TikTok Shop safe? What kind of challenge do you think that brands are facing now, and what is the opportunity with TikTok Shop actually when people start looking at it as a safe marketplace?
I think everyone should start looking at it as a lot more safe now I could see the concern, especially in the beginning when there was a lot of sellers on there that were just trying to make a quick buck. But TikTok has worked very hard to, make themselves more reputable in that sense. I'd say now it's even better than it was before because there's very, very strict requirements to even get onboarded onto TikTok Shop as a brand. For example, if you're based in the US, your ultimate beneficial owner needs to provide their residential address as
Mm.
well as their business address and even a third party like method of verification like their social security or their passport just to even get on board the platform. So while that might sound a little strict, it's all in the sense of, we want to keep the platform safe and make sure when people are buying from TikTok Shop that they know that the brand is authentic and real and that
Mm.
they're not getting
Mm.
scammed. So it's gotten way more safe, I'd say, and a lot better from a buyer perspective. And it's definitely showing with the purchasing data. People are starting to purchase a lot more, and also a lot more brands are onboarding.
Yeah, absolutely. And what is the main markets they cover now? They only cover UK, US, and China?
Yeah, those are the main ones right now, but TikTok Shop is definitely expanding. I think we're going to start to see Canada pop up, Spain, Mexico, a lot more other demographics as well, particularly because there's a lot of affiliates that speak different languages, even in the US. That shows there's a market for those.
Interesting. I think we're going to add another layer to this question in terms of AI, which we will drop into a little bit later.
Mhm.
So I'll try not to forget that. Give us some insights into TikTok Shop's ad tech versus other social media ad solutions.
It's definitely the superior ad tech right now. There's a lot of cool things going on the ad side on TikTok Shop. One of them being GMV Max. Speaking of AI, it's the most automated conversions campaign type there is on TikTok, basically giving full control to the platform. I think that sort of strategy definitely complements a lot of media buyer strategies. I've been reading a lot online about the death of the media buyer and that AI is going to take our jobs away from us and stuff, but I really believe that there, and I think GMV Max really enhances that. Some other
Mhm.
things that are cool about TikTok Shop is there's live streaming ads, so you could actually boost ads with the live feed on TikTok, which I think are going to get bigger. There's also VSA ads. You could utilize that from both the handle perspective and the affiliate handle. So if you're an affiliate out there looking to scale your commission, definitely give out those smart codes. It's helping a lot of the media buyers and yourself. And then also
Interesting.
product shopping ads. Anything that appears within search results on TikTok as well as the shop tab, those are really good at bottom of funnel, especially after you're building up audiences with your video shopping ads and affiliates.
Interesting, you mentioned that the ad technology from TikTok was much more sophisticated than the other social media marketing platforms. And I basically heard this podcast last night with head of product marketing, I think it was from TikTok. She used to be at Netflix before and Meta before
Hmm.
Netflix, and she basically said that the most amazing thing about working for TikTok was the fact that you could get feedback to the developers in I think South Korea or China. I'm not sure where they were based, but she was based in California. And she basically said that you could get them feedback and overnight they will implement it and have it live in the morning. So
Yeah,
do you
they're a
think that
quick
one of
team.
the reasons why TikTok is moving so much faster is just that they're iterating more, testing more, and just have a more agile infrastructure as a company than the Meta platforms and the Google platforms?
Definitely. I think TikTok is one of the fastest moving, most exciting companies out there. And they take feedback very, very well, especially working at agencies. I've seen it firsthand where we give advice on, a product feature or something like that. And then they'd actually take that into account and sometimes even come out with products to support it, especially on the
Hmm.
TikTok Shop Partner Program. We have really great representatives at TikTok that listen to us all the time and they're always taking feedback and stuff like that. I've had pleasures of going to events with them. One of them is called the Creative Boot Camp, where they invited a bunch of agencies to their office and showed us a lot of their new products. Some things, a little more controversial like AI and stuff, and they
Yeah.
really cared about our opinions on it first, and they're implementing a lot of that feedback. So that's why I love working with TikTok. That's why it's my favorite platform.
Thomas, Moment Q has clearly established itself as a powerhouse in TikTok shop space. working with some of the major brands and driving impressive results through your services like paid shop ads, like you mentioned, organic affiliate
Hmm.
outreach, live selling with top creators, etc.
Hmm.
Given you have this extensive experience, how does Moment IQ balance the art and science of influencer marketing, particularly when it comes to ensuring that campaigns are not only performing well, but also resonate authentically with the TikTok audience?
That's a really great question. I think the key is really with your affiliates. Not giving them too much direction is key. Letting them do whatever is native to their own page and feels right for their own page is number one. And then number two is having a testing mentality always. Like never being afraid to test anything, even if the like quality seems a little bit off to you or something doesn't seem right. Just try it out. You might be onto something, and then you could iterate and replicate that in the future. So that's
Mm,
the biggest advice I'd give is really like allowing the affiliates to do what they do best. They know their
mhm.
audience probably a lot better than you would expect, and then
Yeah,
just
that
testing
makes
it
a lot
all
of
out. Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense. How important is it for brands to get involved with TikTok Shop early? What advantages do you see that they will have as early adopters?
So I think, brands that are early adopters to TikTok Shop are way ahead of everybody, especially right now since we're still within the first year. If we go way back to when Amazon started, brands that onboarded then scooped up so much market share on one of the biggest marketplaces on the internet now that now they're a driving force in their industry. It's the same thing with TikTok Shop. If you focus a lot on your affiliate network now, you're not only going to have a loyal like army of ambassadors at your disposal, but you're also going to have, a pretty large market share on what's going to be the biggest social commerce platform in the next 5, 10 years. It already is, but, will be
Mm.
even more established. So that's how I really see it as a brand. Don't be afraid to dive right in and make mistakes now because down the line in the long run, there's going to be a lot of revenue to be had and a lot of, brand awareness to be had on TikTok Shop as well, too.
I was just thinking from a marketplace perspective. I've worked in almost my whole life on marketplaces until I came to IMH, which is a media
Hmm.
company. So from a marketplace perspective, first of all, is there reviews on TikTok? Can you actually review the seller?
You can review the seller. So that's
Okay.
another that connects back to, the trust and transparency too. So the reviews really do help. And I think that's something that is really like setting apart brands that aren't great on TikTok.
Well, that's definitely a big layer to being an early adopter then, if you ask me, because you can actually create flywheel much easier, right?
Mhm.
More reviews you get, the higher you pop up in the algorithm probably. So unless
Definitely.
they don't have that connection in the algorithm, but I believe they will have from a marketplace perspective. So yeah, that's very interesting. So in terms of, let's go back to actually the content side of things. What are the key elements of content that performs well on TikTok Shop in your experience? Can you give us some examples with brands you have worked with? What kind of content went viral or anything like that?
Exactly. Yeah. I'd say a really big focus on content is within your first 2 seconds of your video. And how you
Mm.
capture that is through a metric called thumb stop rate, which is, your total 2 second video views divided by your impressions. So it really, really zeroes in on those first 2 seconds of the video. If you have a strong hook, I've seen a lot of people do, the hooks where they're dumping water on themselves, the visual hook, and then it transforms instantly into a product with really good editing. Stuff like that does great to capture the attention and then get people to be entertained first. And then, okay, I'll listen to more about the product. Or some things like reverse hooks, don't buy this. People do, pay attention to stuff like that. And they kind of put a little spin on it to make it more positive at the end. The hook
Okay.
rate is very, very important. So definitely look at your hook if you're an affiliate. And then when you're coming down to like conversions and stuff like that, paying really close attention to your product pages on Shop too is important for conversion. So are your reviews looking good? Like you said, you really have to have really strong reviews to be favored in the algorithm. Also,
Mm-hmm.
is your product imagery suffice for TikTok Shop standards? Does it show enough information on there and give enough details that might not be shown in the ad? That could really impact your purchases too. And then also on the live streaming side, getting a lot more comfortable with speaking live and being, authentic and genuine in real time
Yeah, that's super interesting. And can you give us a real life example, maybe, of a campaign you guys have done or that has gone viral or driven significant sales on TikTok Shop?
Definitely. So Moment IQ broke for live selling on TikTok Shop recently, and we are the agency with the number one sales for a single SKU on TikTok Shop live selling. We were able to drive 189,000 in 9 hours for one product alone, and that really was just went viral. We heard from the brand directly afterwards that it affected their Google, it affected their Facebook, it affected their website sales, everything. So live selling really does have an impact and can raise that brand awareness.
Okay, and can you give me an example of how a campaign starts and finish? Like, where do you start? I guess you start identifying who is the right creators, or how does it work? I would really love to hear how you approach it from the initial strategy and creative development to execution and optimization, etc.
Definitely. So let's say you're a brand that's never been on TikTok Shop and you want to get involved in TikTok Shop today. The first thing we do is meet with the brand. We go over the do's and don'ts for the brand itself, like what can we say? And then after that, it's pretty methodical process. In the first like 1 to 3 months, we're focusing a lot on affiliate quantity and just getting as many affiliate samples as possible to your product. After that, and we start receiving a lot of the posts and the spark codes, we begin implementing that into advertising because that really just skyrockets the growth of the account and you really start seeing the GMV come through after that. After you're getting a lot of testing done on the ad side, that's when you're live streaming and start implementing semi-annual or not semi-annual, like semi-occasional live streams. I'd say 1 to 2 per month. And then once you're doing that frequently along with the ads and your affiliate outreach,
It's interesting. And let's say I'm a brand that doesn't have the budget to hire smart people like you, a top tier agency like Moment IQ, and I'm completely new to TikTok Shop with no clear
mhm,
strategy in place. What advice would you give to a brand in that position? How should they approach getting started on TikTok Shop?
I'd say if you're a brand that doesn't, have the budget for a big marketing agency for TikTok Shop, definitely pay as much attention to your marketing efforts as you do your back end efforts. Because the last thing you want to do is set up a TikTok shop and have a poor infrastructure to the point where you're getting on your late dispatches or bad reviews from your customers. You
Hmm.
want to have both sides of it as oiled up as possible before you like fully dive into like the marketing. So definitely pay attention to that shop health. And at the same time, while you're doing that, start dabbling in affiliates, start posting on your own profile as a brand and tag products and just see what type of content resonates and what's working great there.
TikTok Shop is increasingly leveraging AI to automate and optimize campaigns. I think you
Hmm.
mentioned the tool GMV Max.
Yep.
You also actually mentioned it to me before when we spoke. How do you see AI transforming the way brands manage their e-commerce ads on TikTok? What's the potential and what's the pitfalls and of relying so heavily on AI for campaign management?
Yeah, that's a really good question and very relevant right now. A lot of media buyers are scared. I'd say they're thinking, oh, this is going to take my job away from me. But I look at it completely differently. I don't think tools like GMB Max are a media buy killer. I think they're a media buyer enhancer. I think if you know the fundamentals of media buying and know how to optimize your ad accounts very, very well, that should always be your foundation. And then use
Mhm.
tools like GMB Max to really enhance your skill set. Sometimes launching new products on TikTok Shop is really hard on the ad side, and the power of AI could really benefit you. And it could really, start getting the wheels turning for your own strategy. But also, if you're not afraid to really dive in and understand the tool and know how to optimize it yourself,
Mm.
then it's really just not going to affect you at all. It's actually going to make you a lot better. So I think GMV Max is a perfect example of that. Try it out on product categories that you haven't cracked in your like structure on ad
Okay.
accounts. Try it out on like cold start accounts that are no brand new to the algorithm. Try it out and then see how it does compared to the normal ads manager.
All right, let's now jump into AI, but on the creative side of things. A few months ago, I wrote the report for Influencer Marketing Hub. We call it the
Hmm.
monthly influencer marketing report. And I dug a little bit into TikTok Symphony. TikTok
Hmm.
Symphony basically represent this new frontier with an AI-driven content creation and distribution. Are you aware of it?
A little bit. I'm not as involved on the creative side as the media buying side, but I've definitely seen some of those updates.
Yeah, so basically, as I understood it, the creators would be able to record a video that will then be transformed into multiple languages that could reach a bigger audience, and they
Hmm.
would use their own avatar to do that.
Yeah.
I found that pretty groundbreaking, actually, when we speak about the, let's say, e-commerce side of the creator economy, because you can
Hmm.
basically reach worldwide a much bigger audience, which is
Hmm.
quite interesting, because when TikTok shop starts opening in different countries, that should basically make incredible results for these creators, right? So how do you see
Definitely.
that also in the States with so many different languages, and how do you see creators utilizing TikTok Symphony?
Definitely. I could definitely see that as being a disruptor on TikTok Shop for sure. Just because, there are some really tight knit groups within the US that don't speak English. For example, Spanish speakers have a really big audience on TikTok Shop right now, and they're good at selling. There's also some even smaller factions like the Haitian audience I've actually come across a lot
Hmm.
more. So I'd be interested to see if creators that don't speak those languages leverage AI to tap into those audiences on their own accounts. But I also hope that doesn't take away from those creators already that, are speaking English. I mean, speaking Spanish, speaking French, whatever language you may be speaking and selling on TikTok Shop in the US. But on the vice versa side, maybe those creators can use it to tap into English too. So
Hmm.
it's very
Hmm.
interesting. And I think, the avatar thing is going to be a whole new creative style on TikTok, and we'll see if it resonates in the long term. But I think in order to know that, first we need to test it out a lot more and see if the avatar works better than, a normal creator on camera. So very interesting because I think AI has definitely scaled our capabilities on the creative side a lot more. I've come across a lot more ads on my algorithm that are, generative art and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So the avatar thing, I'm really curious to see.
And they should probably use it carefully, the same way as when ChatGPT just launched and everybody started making a bunch of content with AI, and then Google basically slammed all these sites, and yeah, they lost their positions in within the Google algorithm. So use AI carefully. Don't mess with authentic content.
I
Um,
agree. And there's one thing that's cool that TikTok does is they actually prompt you to let your audience know if you used AI to make any content. There's a little
mm,
button on each post. So
yeah, yeah,
if we do use that, I definitely suggest using that so people know. But I
absolutely.
definitely can see it working in long term, and also like just enhancing your creative ability, just like GMV Max does for ads. This can really enhance your creativity as well. The old way of making creatives isn't going to go away just because AI is around. So maybe AI can help enhance those further.
What's your perspective on AI influencers?
AI influencers, from a media buyer perspective, I actually like them a lot. I've seen the content work. So, hey, if it's
Really?
working on for GMV, let's do it. Yeah, we have a health and wellness client that has a few pages that are AI created,
Wow.
and they do very, very well on ad side, often sometimes beating the account average for ROAS. So,
Mm-hmm.
from an ads perspective, really good. But from an everyday consumer perspective, maybe not the best. So,
Interesting. I know some of them have a few million followers. It's quite
yeah.
crazy. They already had that like a, I think there's a company actually in LA that has this AI influencer now. I forgot her name, but this company is worth hundreds of millions of dollars, which is insane. So I guess
Yeah.
this is gonna be quite a big thing in the future. Well, talking about the future, if you look into a crystal ball and predict the future of TikTok as a platform, where do you see it be in the next 5 years? Do you think that TikTok has the potential to surpass Meta platforms in terms of reach and audience? We already spoke about the tech part of it, which I agree with you. I believe they are faster in terms of their marketing technology. But how do you envision creators adapting their content strategies to keep up with these changes? What might content creation look like in 2029?
That's a really great question. I think we're going to start to see TikTok Shop really take over that platform because Meta tried their, way before TikTok had it, and it didn't work as well. It just didn't catch on. They're investing a lot more into that now, and same with other platforms. But TikTok's in that very unique position where they have technology that works that no other social media platform has right now, and they're really leading the charge in social commerce. So the next 5 to 10 years, I see a globalization happening where TikTok Shop is expanding a lot more to every other country on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I see a lot more creators adapting to that, taking some shop strategies into their accounts and making sure that it works for them. Whether that's launching a brand new page that's fully shop focused, whether that's integrating it into their already popular page, I think we're going to start to see that. I think we're going to start to see a lot more creators make brands themselves and sell brands on their own that they created, just because that's more authentic and that's probably going to come across a lot better on the platform. And then lastly, live selling. That's going to be number one. Creators that understand how to make content that's live and be comfortable live on camera are really going to be a step ahead of the other creators and have a lot more opportunities from brands going forward and a lot more potential to make higher numbers of GMV for themselves, as well as attract whole new audiences because that algorithm is virtually untapped in the US right now. There's not even enough
Mm-hmm.
people on there to not have like favorability.
Thank you so, so much for your time. I really, really, really appreciate it. It was so valuable to me, and I hope also to our audience. I'm sure that they can pick up a lot because honestly, I have not seen any content online from the brand perspective guiding the brands. So thank you so, so, so much, and I hope we can have another chance to even dig further into this area in the future.
I would love that. I love talking about TikTok Shop, and I look forward to next time we're able to connect.
Thank you so much.